The obstacle to bargaining is hostility. The parties to the dispute may have emotional concerns that interfere with the rational agreement, as when a divorce is bitterly contested. People who hate each other often disagree about the division of cooperative surplus, even though all the relevant facts are public knowledge. To illustrate, many jurisdictions have rules for dividing property on divorce that are simple and predictable for most childless marriages. However, a significant proportion of these divorces are litigated in courts rather than settled in negotiation. In these circumstances, lawyers can facilitate negotiations by interposing themselves between hostile parties. Even without hostility, however, bargaining can be costly because negotiators may behave unreasonably. For example, by pressing their own advantage too hard, what lawyers refer to as overreaching. An essential aspect of bargaining is forming a strategy. In forming a bargaining strategy, each party tries to anticipate how much the opponent will concede. If the parties miscalculate the other party's resolve, each will be surprised to find that the other does not concede, and as a result, negotiations may fail. Miscalculations are likely when the parties do not know each other, when cultural differences obscure communication, or when the parties are committed to conflicting moral positions about fairness. Enforcement costs. The third and final element of transaction costs arises when an agreement takes time to fulfill. An agreement that takes no time to fulfill has no enforcement cost. An example is simultaneous exchange, in which I give you $1 and you give me a watermelon. For complex transactions, monitoring behavior and punishing violations of the agreement can be costly. To illustrate, consider the example from the beginning of this chapter of Blogg's desire to drain a wetlands on his property in order to develop it as a residential area. Suppose that the city permits him to build on a small part of the wetlands, provided that he does not harm the rest. Officials must watch him to be sure that he keeps his promise. Furthermore, officials may require Blogs to post bond, which will be confiscated if he harms the rest of the wetlands and returned to him if he completes construction without doing harm. In general, enforcement costs are low when violations of the agreement are easy to observe and punishment is cheap to administer.